What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto with ESPN, joined by the BMF champion and lightweight contender Justin Gaethje, who joins us from his home in Denver. Looking like 10 years younger than the last time I saw you, man. No beard. You're like one of those guys where you shave the beard off. You go backwards
Yeah,
like 10 years, man. Baby face.
yeah. I had been trying to maintain it myself, and I got a little bit uneven, so I had to start from new.
Oh yeah, hit the reset button on it. All right.
Yeah, necessary, super necessary.
Well, I was not expecting. When did this fight get announced? A week ago. So, had you asked me 10 days ago, I would not have expected to really be doing an interview with you talking about a fight. I mean, up
Yeah,
until about 10 days, at least publicly, you had been saying, like, I'm going to wait. I want a lightweight title fight. Well, now you have a fight against Max Holloway, a BMF title fight on UFC 300. How are we feeling about that? How are we feeling that we have booked a fight against Max Holloway in April?
yeah. I mean, I'm pumped. I fight for a living. I love being under those lights, especially UFC 300 card, something this historic. Against a veteran and a legit legend like Max Holloway. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. These are the good old days. These are great stories I'm going to be able to tell. And yeah, I mean, all four of us, me, Oliveira, Tsarukyan, Max Holloway, we're all going to fight on the same night. There's going to be two contenders coming out that night, and I think Makhachev's looking to fight twice. So I think both guys that get a win are going to fight him this year. Who fights him first? I'll worry about that April 14th. Getting a win is the only thing that matters right now. So I think it's a good opportunity for all of us, especially for me. If I was going to get passed up now, I got a chance to go out there and have a say in it. And so, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the obvious question, right? Is that if Islam fights twice, I think a lot of us would say, like, even if you weren't fighting Max Holloway, that one of those fights is going to be against Justin Gaethje. So in a way, it feels like you're kind of putting that spot on the line here. Was that a consideration when you were talking about this fight?
I think that. I mean, I think it is. I think that's the case. But we've seen with so many examples of guys waiting and kind of taking their time and waiting for that shot and things not working out. Bilal Muhammad just went through it. He's going through it. I think if you have a chance. I thought the Poirier fight was a title eliminator fight. I thought the winner of that fight was going to fight the winner of Oliveira and Makhachev when they fought on October 18th. Oliveira got hurt, and it kind of just, threw a wrench into all the plans. So we're back trying to figure it out. I think there was a clear path now. With that injury, with Volkanovski stepping in, it just kind of reset things, and we, again, all four of us have a chance to stake our claim, and that's what I'm going out there to do.
Yeah, and you're a veteran, you understand how this game works, but I also know that obviously you want that belt. Like, that's the kind of the crowning thing that you have not quite tasted yet. You've had the interim belt, but you haven't had the undisputed one. And
yeah,
has that been tough? Like, to be like a cut on Charles Oliveira's eyebrow has really thrown this whole thing into a loop, because you could be fighting for the belt, now, had that not happened.
I would have fought him. I would have fought him in February. I would have fought. I mean, I was told. Not by specific people, but nonchalantly, and it was just a verbal thing, but that I was going to fight the winner of that fight in February, and then he got hurt, and yeah, it really f***ed things up. So something I cannot control. I'm not going to sit around and let it beat me up, because it does suck. But it's one at a time, and it's the next one. Your next one is the most important. Your last one is all that matters. That's all people remember you by. So luckily, I had a good knockout last time. I got a good nice taste in the fans' mouth, and they want to see me again. And I watch, I read online, and I know that people want a fresh face to fight Makhachev. There's also the other side that says you've lost twice for the belt. Why again? I did what I had to do. I beat the top, number 7, number 6. I'm not sure what he was, up and comer. Knocked out number 2, and it is what it is. That's where I'm at. So I'm excited for this fight. Again, the cut on the eye fucked it up, but now I have a chance to go out there and stake my claim. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, and I believe you that you're excited for this fight. I mean, you are an entertainer. I know that. And the stage is obviously probably going to be the biggest stage of the year, UFC 300. Did you feel, though, at the end of the day, like what was there this feeling that you kind of had to take this fight? I know that you wanted to, and that you're excited for it, but did you kind of feel like you had to, or did you feel like you had a choice?
I would say yes, but not by the UFC. I would say, for myself. I don't think I was, I'm 35 years old, just turned 35 years old in November. I'm going to be 36 this next November. And if I don't take this fight, and I might not fight till November, December. I think Makhachev's probably going to aim to fight June or July and November, December. And so, if he was going to fight that fight, I wouldn't have fought till I was 36 years old, and I wouldn't have had one fight in my, in my ripe age of 35 years old. So, yeah, I think and again, with the cut on the eye, with everything kind of being reset, the perfect opportunity for any one of us to stand out.
And when Dana announced that fight between Charles and Armand, he said that the winner of this will get a title fight. Did you have any reaction to that? Have been like, hey man, okay, if it's Charles, maybe that makes sense. But if Armand's going to jump me, like, did you have any reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, we've been here so many times where they say one thing and then someone gets a cut in their eye, a fight goes a specific way, it's a draw, it's a no contest. There's so many factors that can happen, and so yeah, I mean, again, I thought that me and Poirier were. I'm pretty sure that he said. Actually, I can't say.
Did.
But I want to say that I thought that he said that was a title eliminator fight. I fought that fight. I got a knockout in the second round. Beautiful knockout, beautiful finish against the number 2 guy in the world, a veteran in Dustin Poirier. And I'm pretty sure he said it. I'm not going to hold him to it because I love the fact that anything can change in this. My life, quarter mile at a time. That's how I've lived since day one. So the fact that everything keeps, mumbling and jumbling, I'm okay with it because it's one day at a time for me.
Do you so what you're saying makes sense. Like if Islam fights in the summer and then he fights at the end of the year, he's probably going to fight the 2 winners of these 2 fights. Do you want to be first, or would you rather win this fight and then get your shot at the end of the year? Or do you want a quick turnaround? And I know that obviously we don't know how the fight's going to go, but which one sounds better to you? Do you want the shot first?
I can't say that I do, but I mean, I'm going to be in great shape. I'm going to be right out of this training camp, straight into another training camp, if that was the case. But again, they want to, ideally, they want to do Oliveira, Tsarukyan, the winner. So they fight him in June, July. And I fight the winner of that fight, November, December. Again, things have to work out. Someone has to win definitively, even though that happened, and they want to give Charles the fight again. It makes no sense. But we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I think it's fun. I think it's an exciting day. Again, 10 days ago, I didn't know I was taking this fight. And then I woke up one day and I was. And so now I'm doing interviews with you and Kevin, and it's game time. So I'm back. I'm in the gym. It's 12 weeks was this last Saturday, and I'm working.
I would like to get your opinion on Max's chin, because a lot of people. I mean, obviously it's built up a reputation, that this guy can really, really take a shot. Obviously you're a very, very trained eye. I mean, more trained, and you're in the gym, so you know more than anybody. Like, what do you see when you see Max's chin, his durability? Like, what leads to that? Is he taking those shots head on, or is he good at rolling with them? Like, what has led to him being so durable over the course of his career?
I mean, yeah, it's your ability to see punches first, being in a semi-relaxed state when those strikes are landing and seeing it and then rolling with the punch. Yeah, those are skills that he's be like water. Bruce Lee said it. Nobody knows what it means, but you could feel it when you're in there, and you're going with, physics is everything that's going on in there. His ability to create angles, roll with punches, see shots. Yeah, and his the amount of experience he's had in that cage allows him to be comfortable in. If you're scared, you're going to hesitate. If you hesitate, you're going to get knocked out. He's not scared. He accepts whatever is going to happen, and he believes that he can see his shots. You got to trust that you can see the shots, and if you're seeing the shots, then you have to trust it until that one lands, and you have no idea. But you don't go in there and worry about that. He's not worried about getting knocked out. He wants to be the best boxer in the UFC, and he's out there performing. When that happens, I don't think it has anything to do with like physical traits. I think it's your ability to see the shots coming.
I feel like, every time Max fights, and especially against a hard hitter like yourself, like that stat gets brought up. Like, this guy has had such a long career, but he's never been knocked out. Like, do you care one way or another, or is that for the rest of us, like, to make graphics about on Instagram and to talk about on the broadcast? Or would it really mean something to you to be the first guy to do this? And you think about all the guys that he's fought over the course of his career.
Yeah, I mean, it would. Of 25 wins, I have 20 knockouts. I'm pretty proud of that. That's one thing that I've tried to sustain through my career, purposely. So yeah, that's something that I'm shooting for. Same thing with Tony Ferguson. Nobody had ever finished him. I didn't knock him out in a traditional way, but I certainly created enough damage and caused enough damage for that fight to be rightfully stopped. So I think I would rather not get there here. Promise you that. But I do think this guy, this could be a war. This could be a battle of attrition. If I can't find him, if I can't hurt him, then he never stops, and he's constantly creating angles and constantly creating pressure, and it could be a tough fight. If I can't find his timing early, momentum is everything in there. So a game that we play from the start, and we're trying to win that momentum and gain momentum and keep momentum the whole time. So we'll see how it goes down. It's 25 minutes in time. I'm not sure if you know how many minutes are in between now and then, but it's a few thousand. And I'm going to be perfect, work on being perfect for 25 and not letting any of that happen. So
I know you're always prepared for war, and that's like, I mean, that was for a long thing that's why you don't take short notice fights, because you want to be very, very well prepared. So you're always well prepared for a fight. But when you do know, like, do you feel that when you're like during training camp, like what you just said, this fight could be a war? I mean, just based on what you've seen out of him, like, does that enter your mind more so when you have a specific guy in front of you that's like that, or does that not really, you don't really feel that during camp?
I mean, if I'm being honest with you, which unfortunately I always am, it's a weird little, every single opponent's going to bring something different that you're going to worry about. With Poirier, it was, his precision and power. With Fiziev, it was his speed and his power. And, those are scary. Those are scary. And being scared is something that really does make you work harder. When I look at Max, it's not that I'm not scared of him, because again, like, the worst way to lose is going to be overwhelmed and be, consumed by his pressure in the middle, on the world stage. That would be terrible. And so that's what's going to drive me. But, not being scared is, probably not a good thing. And I am scared, but I can't find fear in thinking about the fight. And so I'm going to have to really try to battle that this whole camp. And if I get knocked out, this will be a funny joke, but it just is what it is. It's a constant battle. Every single guy that I'm going to face brings something different. And, the last majority of these people, it's power and max precision and quantity. And that's a different way to lose and different way to fight. So yeah, I'm going to be prepared. And I gotta battle that thought of, even if it's not like direct physical danger, like, it's still a very, very dangerous situation. So it's just I don't know how to explain it.
No, you explained it really well. I mean, I wrapped my head around that. Like, and it's, I guess in a way, like, you would prefer that fear, right? Because you can't really manufacture fear. Either you have fear or
can't.
not.
You can't. I can't, like, and in those fights, I was, I was down in my basement, running on the treadmill, sitting in the sauna, because I knew that if I lost this fight, it was over. And to these guys, and the way that you lose to these guys, it was absolutely over. And there's only one way I lose. I don't lose another way. That's how I go out. And so I knew that. So that was scary, especially coming off the losses, especially having to come back, coming off the loss in the Oliveira fight. Those two fights were huge. And this is just as big. If I lose this fight, it's probably over as well. That's how I approach things. And so the fear needs to be as great, but it's a challenge.
Well, obviously, some of the headlines that have been made about this already, and this was like before the fight was made, is that you don't really want to fight Max Holloway. You like him too much. Is that something that goes out the window, like, instantly, like the second you sign the fight, like, you're done, or do you still kind of feeling that?
No, I have. The good thing is I've really learned that I don't even have to have any ill will against any of these guys to try to do what I need to do in the cage. Nick Newell, that one I did not enjoy, but yeah. It doesn't matter. Like, once we're in there, it's a game, and they chose to play the game. This is the game that I chose to play in my life. And this is the game that we both play. So I think I respect him just as much as I always have. It's crazy because I say I'm a huge fan of him and I grew up watching him. I'm older than him. I'm like 2 years older than him. But I did grow up watching him. I was just turned pro when he started fighting. I think I had three professional fights when he started fighting in the UFC when he fought Dustin Poirier. And I did. from 2012 to 2016, when I was making my run through World Series and when I was trying to get into World Series and make my name, I was watching this guy. I was watching all his big fights. He had his biggest fights through those times. And so it's been crazy. Cowboy Cerrone was a guy that I knew well, not well, but I knew, been around, and then I had to fight him. I did not enjoy it, but had no issues because, again, he signed the line and signed out the line. And the same thing goes for Max. I've never actually personally met him, and had conversations with him outside of him being in my corner. But that was a long time ago, lots of punches. And I do remember that. That was cool. Again, I was a huge fan of him at that time. You know what I mean? Like he was 3 or 4 fights into his UFC run. I was just starting, just showed up at the gym, just moved down to Denver, was living in a shitty ass. My mom cried when she came to my apartment. That's how bad it was. And I was just as happy then as I am now. This whole ride has been actually just so crazy. And to fight Max is cool. I'm gonna enjoy it.
How do you think, man? Because for a long time it's been like you, Dustin, Charles at the top of this division, and now it's like this is not really your fight. I think your fight for this one was like Fiziev, a guy who was coming up, and now Charles is fighting Armand, and Dustin's gonna fight Benoit Saint-Denis.
Yeah, I love it.
How do you think those guys are gonna fare?
I love it. Someone's when Saint Denis was calling me out, I was like, why? Call out Poirier. That's the fight, and I love that fight's happening. That's the fight that he should be taking. Number 3 versus, and he deserves a shot at top 5, and that's the perfect guy. Guy coming off a loss. I just won. I just beat the number 1 guy. I'm gonna fight above me. That's how this works. He beats Poirier. He gets to fight someone above him, top 3. So I don't know how those fights are going to go. I do believe that the Saint Denis and Poirier fight is very similar to me and Fiziev. These young guys that are full of confidence, super hungry, not sleeping in silk sheets, going against guys that have been here, have been proven, have made money, fought Conor McGregor twice. There's just two different athletes walking into that cage. One wise, older and wiser, and then a young, hungry bulldog. And that's what I thought in Fiziev, and these guys are dangerous. Fight is crazy. 10% chance is a factor all times. So we'll see. I think chance is on his side. I think he'll be fighting for him, and all these guys will be right up there, before we know it. They're already here.
Yep. Last thing, just about this BMF title in general. What does it become to you? I mean, now you're defending the thing, which we haven't seen before. Like, is this like a real thing? Is this like a real thing to you? Do you feel like a champion of a kind of sort of a different division? Like do you have some identity in this thing, or is it just kind of a promoting tool for the UFC?
Well, I think the fans are like such a big part of what we do, and their acceptance of something like that is a huge factor. And I think that, since I've won that fight, I have noticed a difference. There's no doubt about it. The way I'm almost treated like a champion, like I am a champion. And so that's weird it's a little bit weird to me. I'm enjoying it. But yeah, it is what it is. I don't know.